It's just dumb. It's just dumb. Remember the glass onion scene with the whole "It's so dumb, it's great"? No, it's just dumb. We'll talk about episodes 5 and 6 briefly, but episode 7 says it's so dumb. I don't know what to say.
So we're having a baby. I'm gonna be a dad.
Episode 4. So we get just these quick girl boss scenes, girl boss shots. It's this girl, it's this woman. They talk about Abby. Where's Leon? Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. What's going on? And, you feel like there's going to be more about what's actually going to happen in this episode before we get into, stuff with the two girls who basically are just still sort of like hanging out. They're hanging out. We get a flashback at times, but I don't quite understand the concept of having the two of them together because they're the same person. I, they don't talk about anything. They chit chat, and in this scene, it's just Ellie's dumb and Dana's not, and that's the story arc.
Why? Because I'm stupid?
That's not the word I would use.
Really? What word then?
Non-school oriented.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb.
This episode just kind of is the double down a little bit on what we've already seen, what we already know. Uh, lesbian, 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 that kind of stuff. It's just I'm so sort of bored with everything because we're supposed to believe this is all supposed to be edgy or something, and it's just not. And she's triangulating because she's clever, and Ellie is she's a retard. She just is.
He's losing his mind. And I'm reaping all the benefits.
But we always have time for them to just play some music, goof around.
If I ever were to lose you, walking away, I don't know what I'm to say.
Does anyone notice that we're actually in the middle of some sort of like zombie apocalyptic type scenario or is it because they have lived in it their whole lives? They're numb to the fact. And then the whole revelation of Dina being pregnant, right? Like it just makes her such a callous and incredibly awful human being to just be so cavalier about it all. All right, so then we have some just random crap that's happening that kind of puts them back out into the situation, and they're going to chit chat about what's happened in their past, but there's really no real conflict. It's almost like just teen girl. I feel like there's these moments like this where I felt like I'm watching like the old TV dramas where they're just trying to make this normal for the kids at home, right? So we grew up on these like afternoon specials and stuff, and it was like, don't smoke, kids, don't drink, don't lie to mom and dad, don't sneak out after dark. It's all these like tropes. And Last of Us 2 is sort of like behind the times on the fact that we don't need this anymore. Like this seemed like it should be from like 10 years ago, but it's not.
Have you hugged your kid today? Did you send him on his way with love, 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 love?
There's a little more of like Dina talking to Ellie because Ellie's dumb, saying, don't shoot because it draws attention to herself. And she's like, well, when do I ever do that? And it's like, I don't know, every single time. Because we as the audience actually know that and think that too. Long story short, we have some just random stuff that happens. We don't necessarily care about some of this stuff because we don't really have the characters that we want to root for anymore. We sort of have things play out for everything that is I guess from the game. I don't know. Because we have other stuff. We have the Seraphite Scar people and the wolves and whatever, and we just ping around things so much. When we get to this end where she finally catches up with Nora, one of the people that were there in the murder of Joel, they have a little back and forth. Of course, Ellie's immune, so none of this really matters for that. But we never really have exposition in the show about what actually happened. Like, so it's just so frustrating, and it's going to get worse. But it's like, Joel killed all those people in the hospital, and it's like we never have like the conversation of what actually happened. So anyway, of all the episodes to date, this episode just made me the most angry because we maybe could have had this early in the season and it would have mattered more. But basically, this is just a series of flashbacks with Pedro Pascal being a dad to Ellie year after year after year, coming up with like a birthday surprise and this is what, showing that he cared for her and wanted her to be treated as a daughter the entire time, and shows that Ellie is kind of the C word. She really, really is. She's a spoiled brat retard who thinks that maybe it's because she's been treated special this whole time, but she feels like she's entitled to just be awful. It also shows that Pedro Pascal actually can perform and act, and it makes her Bella Ramsey look even worse. And it just has a sharp contrast to how the show has fallen off from season one. Like, him at least being there was like a counterbalance to young Bella Ramsey. Now she's older and it doesn't work, and now we make her witchy. So we don't have any counterbalance. Her and Dina are basically the same thing. It's just it's a degree of the stupidity or dumb or insecurities and everything else manifesting itself. So all this, because we all know how this ends. We all know where this is going. So episode 6 concludes with this whole Ellie does all the talking. It's like total girl boss stuff that she knew everything, and he just has to act by like nodding and facial expressions. He does such a great job, but it's still retarded. It's still like, I don't understand why his character is like, what did you want me to do? Let them like tear your brain out of your body to have some risky experiment in the middle of this with no technology? It is such a dumb premise to begin with. And the fact that he's become a villain because he saved basically his surrogate daughter from some sort of wild experiment from some crazy Frankensteinian science project, it's completely retarded.
You ever gonna tell me how you found the theater?
We followed the likeliest path into the city. Found the place you stashed Shimmer. She's still there, doing all right, not that you asked. Then we saw the WLF sign on the TV station, figured that's where you went. Split up a 2-square-mile area around it and began searching. That's how I found the theater.
And by the way, there's Jesse now. We have Jesse into the mix. Them sitting around and doing nothing. Meanwhile, Jesse was figuring out where they are. He and Tommy has tracked them down, figured out where we hid Shimmer the horse and blah, blah, blah. He's done more work than they did combined. And he immediately becomes an incredibly likable character. He's really kind of been irrelevant, but now in this episode, he tricks Ellie into confirming his suspicions that Dina's pregnant with his child. And he has some great lines about, I need to survive. I have to survive because I have this kid now. Jackson needs me. Now I have a purpose because of this child that's coming. And he's constantly pushing Ellie on all of her stupidity. Like, it was so good. I feel like I am living vicariously through this guy for once, which, again, this show's made me miss Pedro Pascal. So you've done something completely wrong when that's the process.
There were 6 of them and 2 of us. What do you think would have happened? I am not dying out here.
So there's long-winded nonsense about Dina and surviving this arrow in her leg and how Jesse actually saves her because, again, conveniences. And it's like, is the baby okay? Because Ellie's a retard. And then they're just going to leave Dina. And I don't know why. Everything is just dumb in this show. Like, everything is just dumb. Everything is just dumb. And it takes forever to get there. It takes 10, 15 minutes before we're really in the middle of a scenario that kind of matters, where we're back out into the wild and we see something going. And we have the back and forth, and they're kind of put in harm's way. And you see this group and how they're going to kill this little Scar kid or whatever. And it results in a fight with Jesse, who brings up a great point. Like, she's like, I'm going to just go kill them all. It's like, well, there's like 6 or 7 of them, and it's just Jesse and Ellie, so they would get killed. And then it becomes this big argument, which is sort of like the embodiment of the show. Let me see if I can find it. But you feel like we're finally going to get to where we need to with the whole, hey, by the way, you're a selfish C word. You don't care about anyone. The community tried to do this for you and whatever. And then she has this comment about like F the community, and she's going to go out into the wild and go hunt down Abby or whoever she thinks. It's oh my gosh. It's just terrible. It is so, everything is retarded. And this is led by this the lead retard right here on screen. Right, because it comes across the walkie-talkie that's where she is, and he's like, everything you do for you. You're just this selfish, and it's like it just keeps going, and then there's another gunshot, which is Tommy probably, and that's going to kind of proceed and kind of proceed, and then ultimately we have these sequence of events that kind of put her out here in this boat, because she can boat. And she crashes on an island, lands on an island. There's this little wolf kid, blah, blah, blah. We keep going. And then we end up in this situation where, let's see if this is the right shot. Yeah. So she confronts these two, because there's 2 of them that are there, right? And you're like, okay, what's going to go down here? And they're like, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna tell me where Abby is, and then you're gonna tell me where Abby is, or whatever. And he reaches for the gun to try to trick him, and Ellie gets a shot off, and it kills him, but the bullet goes through and hits the girl, and it's revealed she's pregnant. And then we get more Ellie retard, because the girl, I mean, I guess it's a pretty serious. The way they they shoot it though, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. But she has enough energy left to say, cut the baby out. And she's just like, oh, how do I do that? Do I cut short? Do I cut deep? Do I cut? Because she's a retard. She's an idiot. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry, you're going to die, lady, because you got killed by a potato face moron who has no idea how to do anything. She doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't know. Like, I don't know what you expect. Did you expect to be shot by someone who has a clue how to survive out into the wild with all these infected and other humans that are going to kill her? No. She doesn't know anything. So she just doesn't do anything. She just doesn't do anything.
How deep?
Deeper than you think.
Which way? Which way?
Oh, transfers. Transfers.
What? I don't know what that means.
Is it out?
You serious?
So there's sort of like a gather everybody back and can you be okay with it kind of moment. And then that goes sideways there at the very, very end, because you hear Tommy, the door opens, the gunshot goes off. So we get this in frame. And they get rid of the character that we like. Don't get attached to any... This show... Okay, so I know the game enough to know how much the game has made all of you gamers mad. I understand that some of this has made this... Some of the creative liberties with the show has made it worse. Game or show notwithstanding, you, the audience person, and you, the person with the game, should have a character that you enjoy being or following or wanting. Every time, so the Pedro Pascal character's gone, and now Jesse's gone, and because Abby, amazing Abby, if we thought Ellie was special, she's got nothing on Abby, because we see her in her girl boss glory, and her line is, "I let you live and you ruined it." And then just you hear a gunshot go off, and it cuts to black. And it was actually just terribly done. Because again, we don't really have any context for characters. We don't have any pushback to say, oh, by the way, Joel stopped your dad from, I don't know, carving out my brain for some random experiment, which may not even have worked, by the way. No, none of that conversation happens. And then it makes it worse because then we cut to what's actually going to happen now is we're going to flash back to Abby's story. And I presume this is season 3 is Abby's story, because don't you care about the girl that murdered the main character that you liked and now murdered the second character that you like? I mean, I was like, well, I guess we kind of like Tommy. I don't think he's quite dead yet, but he'll be dead. And maybe she's not dead. Maybe it didn't go as we thought, and Dina snuck up behind and blew her, and maybe. And I just don't care. I cannot believe there are people who cut this at 90%. Talk about the performances. Performances of what? Pedro Pascal, who doesn't matter. He's been in what? 1 episode and then pieces of 2 others, and he's sad sack dad who can't do anything right. Jesse, who's on screen for a matter of few minutes over the course of the whole thing, and then he's just sort of like cast away. You know, Dina's character is the only one that's good most of the time, but they've made her character this nasty, selfish, pregnant woman who goes out into harm's way on some sort of revenge vendetta by her crazy lesbian teen love crush. It's all retarded. It's so dumb. I don't even know how to. I thought in Kenobi, hiding Leia in Kenobi's jacket was dumb, right? I thought, cutting people with lightsabers and they don't die, that was dumb. I thought the office chair torture scene in Andor was pretty dumb. We can go down the rabbit hole with, Disney Marvel stuff I thought was dumb. But the show has done levels of dumb all along the way in season 2 that this makes this possibly the dumbest show in the last 5 years. Maybe it may be the dumbest show in the last 5 years. I didn't think it could be possible that somebody could outdo the stuff over at the Mouse House, but I think they might have. Season 2 is that dumb. It doesn't make any sense from a marketing standpoint. Doesn't make any sense from a character standpoint. I don't understand why anyone wants to watch season 3 about Abby, the character that none of us know. Why do we care? Jeffrey Wright was brought in to be this mysterious guy who's going to betray Fedra. He has another appearance, and they're quote doing something, and we don't know what they're doing. It's all off camera. All this girl boss stuff we saw briefly, it's all off camera. We don't care about any of those people. We're always giving back to the dumbest of the dumb in this show. Absolutely retarded. Can't stand the show. Absolutely possibly the worst show of the last 5 years. I stand by that. All right. Give me the hate. Bring it. I'm ready for it. I'm Pops.